SunFast is an ISO registered global procurement and distribution partner specializing in fastener hardware for assembly manufacturing. SunFast has spent its 40-year life dedicated to the highest levels of quality and service in our industry. With over 330 supplier partners worldwide, SunFast can become an immediate asset to your supply chain.
Welcome back to the news desk at the South Carolina Manufacturing Conference. I'm Patrick Hoff, staff writer with the Charleston Regional Business Journal. With me now is Rick Oppedisano, CEO of Delta Bravo.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here.
Well, I appreciate the invite. That was fun. Great show.
So tell us a little bit about Delta Bravo.
So Delta Bravo is an artificial intelligence and machine learning company. What we've done is we've created technology that automates a lot of the more complex and time-consuming parts of that process. So we help manufacturers go from having a mountain of raw data to being AI capable a lot faster, more cost-effectively than doing it themselves or going with a larger provider. So we really, with manufacturers, we tend to focus on creating value in three areas. The first one is usually OEE, so overall equipment efficiency. The whole idea of saying, hey, can we have more predicted downtime instead of unplanned downtime? Can we increase throughput of our machines to maximize the amount of product we can make on a particular machine? Let's take a look at quality issues. Can we, it's another big area that we deal with is first pass quality. How can we understand what is influencing a negative quality outcome or a negative scrap outcome? Understand what's influencing those outcomes and what we can do to predict them, and then avoid them before they become an actual problem on the manufacturing floor or at the plant. So, the other big area we work in, operational excellence, right? So with the manufacturer, you got a lot of moving parts, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the plant, you've got the supply chain, you've got logistics, you've got demand forecasting, sales. And so what we'll do is we'll help them take data from all of those different parts of the supply chain, parts of the operation, and understand how each of those parts of the operation could positively or negatively impact things like plant production or inventory adjustments and shifts like that. So.
Okay. Seems like it's pretty important work what you do.
Oh well, it could be. It could be. There are some customers where we've working on projects that are going to save them upwards of $100 million in a year. The stuff that we do tends to be very measurable. And that's really positive, right? Because ultimately, if you're talking to someone and you say, I've got a 7% scrap rate, and I say I can reduce that to 4%, it's very likely that they understand what that reduction means in terms of hard dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, it's a fun thing to do, and the work can tend to be pretty impactful.
What are some of the challenges that you see either in your industry specifically or with manufacturers that you work with?
Well, I think that some of the challenges that we see is that number one, they don't really know where to start. So everyone has said, every single manufacturer that we've ever worked with says, hey, I've got mountains of data, I've got a ton of data. We can definitely get started working. Then all of a sudden you find out that data is not really being collected reliably. It may not be being collected in the right types of intervals that you need in order to model the data. So typically, that's kind of what we see is that people have a lot of trouble even getting started because once they start getting moving, they realize that, oh my gosh, this is a lot more complex than I thought it would be. And so we tend to come in there and really help them with those initial stages and say, hey, this is where the gaps are in terms of what you got versus where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what you need to do to fill those gaps. And then at that point, we can start modeling with them and proving out the solution, proving out the ROI with data that's usable, that actually works to solve the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you finding enough skilled labor or enough people that are able to do the work that you need them to do?
Yes, this is a really interesting question, right? So the concept of skilled labor to do this type of work to deliver the benefit to the customer, all right? So that's the question. And so there's two kind of answers to that. So on our side, for us as a company, we're a little different because, like I said earlier, we have an automation platform. So our whole purpose as a business is to scale through technology more so than people. So for us as a business, we don't really need. I mean, it's funny if you think about Instagram. So when Instagram got bought by Facebook, they had 13 people that worked there. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. And so we're kind of like that, where we were able to support a pretty broad, large client base, mostly because we have a lot of automation that supports the processes. Now, our customers are not that lucky, all right? And this is where the difficulty in finding skilled labor in AI and machine learning comes into play. So our customers look at this and they say, hey, if we're going to try to bring these people on, good data scientists, you're talking at least 100K to walk in. Then they've got to take the time to, learn the business, go through the data. And so what we find in a lot of cases is that if our clients can even find these people at all, because in reality, most of them are getting scooped up by big banks, finance, people like that, that have that money to go throw at folks and that have the time to take a year to build a team, it's most like it's more of a science project for them. Whereas with a manufacturer, it's definitely a business project, right? Where they say, hey, if I got to find this guy, I got to train him up. He's got to learn the business. And then, by the way, our data, he's got to work on our data. How long is it going to take to clean up all this data and get this right? So it tends to be a real problem for our customer base, finding and keeping those folks. So there's absolutely a gap there, one that we fill,
When you look to 2020 and beyond, what are some of the trends that you're seeing, or what are some things that you're looking forward to?
So trends, obviously people are trying to get into Industry 4.0. A lot of what we do represents the toe in the water, right? So some of the big trends that we're seeing is that people are starting to become a lot more cognizant of data collection. They're becoming a lot more cognizant that they have to start looking at it and they have to start cleaning it, and it has to be reliable. So we're seeing a lot of work. So we partner with companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Cisco, some of the bigger players, Presidio, in terms of helping customers get kind of start jumping on that trend, right? So that's really the big trend that we're seeing. Number one is a lot more attention on data. And also a lot more of a willingness to explore these types of solutions. So as you guys can see, I'm sure you watch TV. If you watch a football game, you're going to have 5 AI commercials on it, right? So the concept is being socialized a lot now. So we just start to see the concept, people being a lot more open to this concept in the next year.
Okay. Well, Rick, thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
What fun. Have a great show.